Millions of Canadians are suffering from chronic pain, from disease, injury, age, and more. Yet doctors don't understand the pain very well. Health Specialist Leah Sarich now with new money for researchers at the U of C that could change that. This is a very valuable project.
It really is, and this is one of those foundation grants. So this is big dollars. We're talking $3.1 million from the federal government. And what that does is it allows these researchers to focus on the research for 7 years. So instead of reapplying for a grant every year or two, they can actually focus on the science. So this is really exciting. These researchers are trying to understand why some people develop chronic pain and others don't, and why people react to pain differently than others. So they're trying to understand this, how it happens, and then the goal, of course, is to improve their condition and make them feel better.
For example, if somebody has diabetes, about 50% of diabetic patients develop what's called diabetic neuropathy. So they have intense pain, and there are very, very few treatment avenues available for them. And so what we're trying to figure out is how do they develop these kinds of pain conditions, and we use animal models to do that, figure out the mechanisms, and then use that for therapeutic approaches.
And so what he means by therapeutic approaches, of course, is new treatment options, so new drug therapies, new medications to help these people feel less pain. Professor Zamponi explains there's almost an emotional component to pain, which researchers really don't understand, because different people feel pain or perceive pain differently, and they just don't understand why. So that's what they're trying to figure out. And of course, there are so many different causes of pain. That's the other thing that's really tricky. Whether it's diabetes or a spinal cord injury or a stroke that affects how one feels pain and so on. This is why it's really so complicated to figure out what in fact is causing that pain.
We are focusing on all aspects of pain signaling. So how do you detect pain in your skin with your neurons that are in the skin? How is the pain signal then transmitted to the spinal cord? How is it processed there? How is it transmitted to the brain, where we then actually perceive it as something that's unpleasant? So we really address all of those steps in our lab using different types of approaches.
Yeah, interesting. So right now, Zamponi and his team of scientists, and there's 15 of them, so that's a really big team. There's 15 of these scientists, and they're looking for answers really on a molecular level. So they're looking at molecules in the dish, they're looking at neurons in the dish, and then they try out these molecules in animal models. And then what they're doing is they're actually partnering with a lab in Vancouver that takes their findings and then works with those findings to try to turn them into medications that then they can try out on humans. So that's sort of the beginning level of the basic science. But then what they need to do is get a pharmaceutical company on board so they can take this into clinical trials for humans. So we're still, a few years away, certainly, from human trials, but, stuff is happening right now, and of course, millions of people are affected by chronic pain. So this is something that's really very exciting, and we'll certainly have to watch. And again, Zamponi has now 7 years because of this foundation grant. And I said to him, what are you going to do now? He's like, are you going to come into the lab? And he's actually, I'm not allowed in the lab. I leave that to my scientists. Wow. He's all about coming up with the big ideas, so that's what he's going to do.
Incredible. 7 years, and congratulations for them on the grant money. That's quite the achievement.
$3.1 million, yeah. Huge.
More information on your blog,
as always. You bet. It'll be on my blog a little later this morning.
Okay, breakfasttelevision.ca, that's where you can find it. And we find Mike Yanni on the track this morning. There's a competition at hand. We're going to find out who wins. Some very special BT viewers are looking forward to a Samsung phone that's up for grabs. Stay with us, 8:47. You're watching Breakfast Television on City.